Well, welcome everybody to the June edition of Chats on Colfax. I know most of you, but for those of you who haven't met formally, I'm Ryan Lewis. I'm working as part of the small business outreach team with my colleague Dominic McCanney, and we have lots of stars of the show here I'm going to introduce you to today. We are recording. I just like to let everybody know that we're recording this, as most people who watch this virtually. So we have some special guests today. Here's our roadmap. We're, like always, we give project updates from the various entities, and our special presentation today about AI assistance for businesses. Aaron in the back is going to help us there, and then we just have a couple last-minute announcements with what's happening with the We Back the Facts campaign. Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and get started with general updates. Danan.
So Colfax Ave here from Grant Street to Josephine. BioFund grant was something that has been out for a while, but our district, for anyone that has not qualified or probably won't qualify for the BioFund grant, we have a very small grant opportunity that we just put out with a due date of July 21st. I think that's about it. If anyone wants to join us this weekend on Saturday, we're going to clean up Colfax from Grant to Josephine, and we'll have free drinks from Uptown Bon Mi, and we'll be ending with a little party at Lion's Lair with food from Chicky's Tacos and your first drink on the bit.
And if anybody is planning on coming to the Pride festivities on Sunday, we're going to have a presence with RTD, and so we're going to be trying to get folks at the parade to come to Colfax and spend the rest of their wild day. Come out and see us. We're going to have big signs. It'll be lots of fun. Do you have any other just events or crawls you just want to announce to?
Well, we've got our big annual event. Indie Bash is going to be on July 10th. For anyone that's interested, Mayor Mike Johnston will be joining us with CityCast Denver for a live podcast taping. And then local musicians, Wayne and Nella, will be there to perform one of their new songs, Next Stop Denver. But it's free, it's fun, it's a really great time. So anyone's welcome to join us on July 10th at Champagne Tiger.
Yep.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun time. Yeah.
It was really fun last year.
So. Yeah, we enjoyed it last year. And we'll have a table there too, so if anybody comes with BRT questions, hopefully you'll have everything answered today. Okay, thank you very much, Danan.
Marcy Loughran, and I'm doing the construction communications with Kramer North America, and this is Todd.
I'm Todd Freeman, the project manager out here for the construction group.
Sean Albert, the deputy project director for Dottie on the project.
So I'll just give a brief update of kind of where we are, what we're doing, and then really open it up for questions. We currently have 10 stations under construction right now, so you guys maybe have seen a few of those going up. I think we have three arches up, and our next arch in delivery and installation will be for the York Street station, so that one will be delivered on July 7th, and then the install will be on July 14th. Maybe we can talk about some of the a little bit later. Great for the watch parties. The big action that we're doing right now is in phase one of, or segment one of construction. We are in the process, or just about to start the switch over to segment one, phase two construction, which is where now we move our work zones from the south side of Colfax, and our work zone now goes over to the north side of Colfax. So essentially just switching, so now your traffic configurations will start to be on the south side of Colfax. Starting this week, actually, we are moving the section between Emerson and Marion, and then throughout the rest of July, 2 other shifts will happen. And why they're not happening kind of all at once is that we've been working with some particular businesses along those stretches to accommodate sort of like either big events or things that are happening. And so we've sort of staggered how we're switching the configuration over to the other side of the street. So You'll notice that lane shift coming around. One of the other pieces is, with that will be the soil cell work. So those trees, the landscaping, and some of the curb and gutter and all of that work will now switch to the other side of the street. We will start meeting with businesses. I think we've targeted the week of July 7th to start going one-on-one with businesses with our construction personnel and our PI team, talking about what does those installations look like, what is the access for your business. One of our guiding principles is to always make sure you maintain access to the front door of your business. It might look a little bit different with ramps and some wayfinding, but we'll work to keep that open at all times. And so we want to make sure we're talking to every business along in this phase 2 and segment 1 of what to expect as we go there. And this is in advance of the work. We like to get out definitely 2-3 weeks. It might even be a little bit longer. Might be about a month out before we even start some of that sidewalk work. Let you know what's happening, see what your delivery schedules are, what are some of the other details, and then we come back maybe about 2 weeks out, let you know, and we might call you. We also talk about how do you like to be communicated with? Do you want an email? Do you want a text? What is that information? We'll get back to you about 2 weeks saying, we're still on schedule. We think we're gonna, it looks like we are gonna be starting work in your area, X date, etc. And then the week of, or just a little, maybe even a little bit longer before, again, confirming our schedule. We're gonna be there. Has anything changed with your operations? How can we help you with any of that stuff? So those are main work. The other piece I want to talk about is, so all the segment notices, we've got, there's 5 segments to construction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th one is in Aurora. Flyers for those kind of initial configurations are posted on our website, and if you've probably seen Heather's out delivering them and meeting with businesses one-on-one about those, but these are also always listed on the website. And then we also have another resource, a bi-weekly update that we have. This is just a printout of it, but it is on the website in a Power BI form. So you can always go to Colfax or denvergov.org/ColfaxBRT. There's 2 dashboards. If you go to the construction page, you will get the update. And this is not exactly what it looks like because this is a printout of how I give it to the team, but it is a street-by-street piece of information. So it will tell you that for right now. Corona Street Phase 2, we're in Phase 2 North Side. This is the update that actually is going out tomorrow. Current work activity, Corona is open, and we anticipate that phase to be complete by spring of 2025 or 26. Another example is like Vine Street. It says Phase 1 South Side. Right now there's a street closure, and the work that's being done there is drainage, and then the anticipated completion of that phase is fall 2025. So it goes through every street that we are working on, so you can navigate down here. And we are currently have configurations in place from Broadway to Fairfax Street. So we are looking along the corridor and are trying to get in and get out as fast as we possibly can. Yes.
So when are we looking to get the trees put in?
For where?
About like in between Logan and Grant
Next summer.
next summer.
Yeah, maybe this winter and springtime. Because we need to tie in the irrigation onto the north side before we start planting. So the cells and stuff are going to get installed, and then we'll just temporarily cover where the trees are going to get cut out, and then we'll all come through and then plant all the trees and start the irrigation portion.
Okay.
Is anyone keeping an eye on the state of the asphalt and the roadway? With the way the guys are doing a lot of drilling and water work and the drainage and storm sewer and everything else, it starts to become dangerous to ride any kind of vehicle when they're not patching back after they've dug up, or they're not minding it when it's then been undermined and flushed.
So one of the things we did as part of the early action for the project is we went ahead and worked with Denver Water to have them come through and basically replace 100+ year water line
We would
for
know
the
that.
whole length, right? And
Oh,
I
no.
know that that's been challenging for folks, but that was necessary in order for us to come through and do our stuff. As far as we totally acknowledge that there's some quality issues out there with the patches that Denver Water's put in. We are actively right now going through and identifying locations obligations for Denver Water to come back and actually fix things that were not compacted or asphalt not put back. So we are, I believe Denver Water has a crew that is actually kind of working in spots along the core. So we have 2 inspectors from the city that are out working with them, and they're basically mapping the entire stretch from Yosemite all the way to Broadway right now. So if you have specific area that you're
Well, I mean,
concerned about,
that's the
can try
thing,
to
I
figure
could
it
call
out.
it the pothole hotline and just dump it into the massive inbox, or know whether or not you guys are actually dealing with it. I mean, this was only just last week and I haven't taken any action on it, but I'm like, well, do I even know that it's on your list or that anybody cares? Because the ones I'm seeing that Denver Water's leaving behind, they've been sitting there for 6 months.
So if it's in our work zone, we'll take care of it. So, and like, call the hotline.
Okay.
And whether if Heather's your point of contact or Marcy, it will get to us and we'll fix the potholes within our work zone. Part of the good things about this project is we are gonna resurface the whole roadway, right? So a lot of that, but as we start pushing traffic around, we're noticing that existing asphalt's blowing up and potholes are starting. So I guess the best thing for that is if you throw it, we will take care of it. If you don't,
Call the hotline. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, and the hotline goes to me and Heather directly, and
Alright.
so we will catch that, and we will, just tell me the street, you can also text to it if you want, that makes it easier. I know you're on the scooter, so you probably shouldn't text while you're on the scooter, but do that, we'll catch it here and go out there pretty immediately, because we've been able to, even like Learned Lemur had something, it wasn't part of it, but we were able to do a cold patch and at least get something covered and you can move on top of it. And then if it isn't something that's in our work zone, we have direct contacts to Excel and Denver Water and some of those folks that are doing pothole and boring to be able to kind of get that back up. But we appreciate the extra eyes on the street.
Yep.
Because that's it's a thing. Thank you for that.
And while this map is up there, I just want to point out that these are the stations. And so I'm going to talk very briefly, and then I'm going to have Tito chat about what we've been doing. And so we've been hosting a slew of parties as each of these arches. If you've driven down, you see the arches come up. We've been looking for people to co-host essentially watch parties where we bring in 30 to 40 people and just celebrate. So we've got a lot of project partners. There was a slide at the beginning here that had all of the project partners, and we send out this invitation, and then we invite the neighborhood associations and all of that. So we've had really good success. So we've done Pennsylvania, Downing, and Franklin, and then the next one is Josephine and York. So we had a lot of people gathered and purchasing things from the restaurants, and we've been catering them. And so what my point here in my sale is that if you are anywhere near one of these spots and are interested in hosting us for a lift activation or a lift party, just get in touch with us and we'd be happy to do it. So the next one is just New York, and we're talking about maybe even doing a little block party, right? I think so. So if you're in that area, also let's bring you in on it. But just take a picture or take a look. These are also on the website. So we'll do the magic and bring people to you, and you can just be the best hosts and hopefully make some long-term business from that. We did, I think people got this one at Nob Hill. People got really into. They made signs.
So much fun.
There's so many jokes. There's so many X-rated jokes that people can make about art directions. So it's just invite a bunch of 8th grade boys out who are actually adults and you have a good time.
Nob Hill showed up and it.
Now they're starting to do, because they've built in a lot of efficiencies into it, so now they're going to be doing 2 at a time. So when we come to Madison, we're going to be trying to build in 4 or 5 different businesses in the celebration. So just looking for people to be part of it. Let us do the work and let us pay for it, and you can just reap the benefits of it. Okay, so that's it for me. I'm going to hand it over to our Dito folks.
This will be super simple because round 2 is closed. So hi guys, my name is Lauren Myerscough. I'm the Senior Advisor for Business Retention and Expansion, and that is a whole mouthful. for Dito, which basically means that my job is to help you stay in Denver. So round 2 of the BioFund is closed right now. Tentatively, we are scheduled for an August opening, maybe September. We're trying to see what would give us the most opportunity to have the most businesses included in this next round. The boundaries will be determined by Dottie, so we'll see. Businesses have to be eligible under a certain NAICS code, North American something code. I've really forgotten what it stands for, but it's up on the website. Meaning you have to be under one of these. You can look up your NAICS code if you don't know it online. You have to be retail, arts, entertainment, recreation, accommodation and food services, or other services. Other services is not a catch-all. Other services means like nail salons or hair places, places mostly that you can walk into. Again, not a catch-all. Your 2024 gross revenue has to be between $30,000 and $5 million. And your business location must be within 350 feet of construction. The way that we calculate that, it's super easy. You can just go into Google Maps, you drop a pin, and then you can draw a line from your business to the pin. Most of you are on Colfax though, so it's super simple. We will be doing these every single month, so you will know as soon as we know when the next round is open. In the meantime, you can sign up for the Dito newsletter, and we will let you know. But yeah, that's all I have for you right now. Thank you so much.
Thanks. And I always like to talk about too, Dito is not just distributor of grants. They have a lot of technical assistance programs that they offer free of charge for businesses who might need support in any number of areas, from accounting to marketing and web design. So and my team also is working with a series of other organizations that also provide tons of this technical assistance for free. So if there's something that you need and maybe your bid or maybe your own knowledge is not taken care of, like, approach us and maybe we can make that happen for you too. Or at least we can put you in contact with people who have those answers.
We are always happy to come out to you.
Yes, it's something I love about y'all is that just, right, come down and we'll have a meeting. Okay, from Upskill AI Solutions, and I think everybody should have one of these on your table, but if you need extra, I have extras.
I'm so happy to see you there.
It's going to lead a little workshop.
Hey everyone, my name is Aaron. I am your neighbor down the road, and for volunteer work, I like to come in and give the gift of AI. I'm really interested, before I start here, when I say the word AI, how many of you are like, yes, let's do this, I want to know more? All right, who's neutral and just like, I can take it or leave it, it seems like a buzzword? Who is like, oh, I've heard AI so many times and I do not want to hear it again? Anyone? No one? I thought we'd have at least one in here. Well, hey, I'm really glad that you're all here. I have been doing these volunteer workshops, and one of the most rewarding pieces of this are the moments when I see a business owner just have an aha moment. When they realize either they've known a little bit about AI and now they just realize how they could use it to leverage it in their business. And so we're going to play a little game during this, all right? If you get that aha moment, even if it's just a little one, put up a little rock on symbol, okay? Rip off a little part of one of your pieces of paper, throw just a theme of what that aha moment is, and put your email address on the back. And at the end of this, I'm going to pick one random person and they can have a 1-hour free session with me on anything that you want. The type of services I provide are from end-to-end business consulting. AI is just a very small portion of what I do, so I'm happy to consult in whatever way works. All right, and if you get like a massive just aha moment, I want to see 2 of these up. Okay? So, first of all, who has been exposed to AI and has worked with ChatGPT or Perplexity or Grok or any of the ones out there? We have one there, we have a few. Has anyone gotten like deep into it where they're using it every day? All right. So I'm going to explain how I look at these assistants, and then we're going to be going through some live examples. I've used some of your businesses here with the examples that you've gotten on this nice little handy sheet. I wanted to put this together because I wanted you to have everything in one place so you don't have to be taking notes during the session. Okay, so this is kind of your, keep it next to your computer, and it'll just kind of guide you as to how to be excellent in prompting. So first of all, what is an AI personal assistant? Okay, I like to look at this as a recent college grad who got 4 degrees, Harvard, Stanford, DU, CU. They grabbed kind of every single bit of knowledge that's out there, but they have no street smarts. Okay? They don't know you, they don't know values, they don't know how they should be looking at the world. Okay? And so these AI personal assistants, what's different than the paradigm that we've been working in for the last many decades is that these AI assistants learn. They learn what you want as you start to prompt it and give it more information. So the way that you can look at this is that it's actually like adding another employee for free. Okay, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, all the ones out there, you'll see that in the upper right, a bunch of different options there of different tools you can use, but they are free to use. They have usage limits, but you can essentially walk out getting an employee for free once you know how to leverage it and use it. And so one of the most valuable things here, I mean, I can tell that there's a lot of stress under the business owners as the BRT is coming through, and it's hard to see. You know, it's something where you're having to adapt every single day. And a tool like this will allow you to kind of have a confidant to be able to come up with solutions quickly to the problems that arise every day. Like, I've never had to deal with that. How do I deal with it? And as they know more about the context of what you're trying to do, the better those results are going to be. Okay, so the more you work with it, the more useful it becomes. Okay, and so we're going to see that here. I've been working with mine for about 6 months or so every single day. It knows exactly how I like to write to the point where I can, just throw in what I'm looking for, and it gets me a 99% accurate draft. When I started it, not so much. Okay, so it takes that kind of training period. All right, so let's talk a little bit about search. Okay, when we think about going to Google, for the longest time we've thrown in keywords. Right? We say what we want to look for, it does the research, it grabs out the top sites as something that a human has done. We are in this mode that is completely changing that. Okay? When people were in the Industrial Revolution back in the 20s, they didn't know that they were in the Industrial Revolution. We are solidly in the AI revolution right now, and whether we recognize it or not, we're going to look back on history in the 2020s that we are in that right now. And so what's shifting is that instead of searching for keywords, now these assistants like ChatGPT, it uses, has anyone heard the term generative AI? So ChatGPT is a form of generative AI, and what it's actually doing is it's generating the content based on all the research. And so it's actually creating you a unique result. If you put in one right here, and I put in the exact same prompt, it would give us 2 different outputs. Okay, and what this means is that you actually own the output of your assistant. Okay, so legally, that is your IP. I don't know if this will change, so don't mark my words here, but right now, that is how it lies, is that it's creating unique content for your situation. You can leverage it, and it becomes yours. Okay, so it really is like an employee creating new thought work for you. And so just to kind of give you an idea of how fast this is moving, ChatGPT-1, they had what are called 117 million what are called parameters. They have all these like endpoints of information. You think about they're bringing in everything on the web, and they had 117 million parameters. ChatGPT 3 went up to 175 billion. So in their next iteration, they went up 1,500 times the amount of parameters. And now in ChatGPT 4, it's gone up to 1.8 trillion. And so that means it's risen in just, 6 years, 15,000 times larger models, which means that they're getting more and more accurate over time. Which also means that we need to be smarter at prompting it, because it's only pulling a small subset of this huge model. And so if you're able to point these models directly towards the information you're looking for, the outputs you get are absolutely phenomenal. And people are starting lightweight businesses purely just based off of working with ChatGPT now. And so what changed, and why are we able to do this, is compute power is cheaper than it ever has been. Okay, and so now these engines that historically only the largest companies in the world had access to now we all have access to for an incredibly cheap price. For free, or for $20 a month, $240 a year, you can get access to your own personal assistant. It will be the cheapest employee that you own. So let's go ahead and jump into this. But I want to mention just a few things before I do. I've been noticing a few trends, and if I can get Danan to learn a few things here, then I'm always happy because she's been in a few of these sessions with me. I've noticed ChatGPT getting more agreeable than ever. And so I've actually added a little section number 7 here, which is a prompt that you can add into your ChatGPT that will force your bot to not be agreeable, but to be truthful with you. Okay, you want to hear real, honest feedback, not just confirm the thoughts that you already had. Okay, so it's starting to get more agreeable. The other bits that I want to bring up is always ask your assistant to share their thought patterns. Okay, very, very important, understanding the reasoning and decision criteria as to how they got there, because if there's something wrong in that thought pattern, you can correct it and it'll get it on track and it'll learn. Okay, the next is ask for sources. A big problem with ChatGPT right now is that it missources things. Ask it to verify the sources and put like a little symbol next to it if it's an unverified source, something along those lines. Has anyone heard of this term of hallucination? So hallucination is actually, it's not really a problem with ChatGPT as much as it's a feature. It's almost like it's brainstorming, okay? It's trying to think outside the box, but you want to know when it's hallucinating. So I built this into this number 7 right here, is it says, first verify sources and flag any links that are fabricated, and tell me if you are making something up, inferring, or speculating. Okay, then it'll just flag every time that it's hallucinating, it'll tell you it's hallucinating. Okay, very powerful. And then biggest one here, share examples. Okay, the more real world examples that you can give it, either the way that you like to write, the reviews that you shared before, say write like me. Okay, or so just if you can give it 5 examples instead of 2, it's going to become far, far more accurate. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. This is going to be a lot of fun. But first of all, does anyone have any questions before we hit them? Are we excited? Are we feeling a little bit better about going to AI here?
I kind of, it's more of an abstract question, but about number 7, be honest, even if we disagree, right? Like that's where it gets into, for me, what's a little bit scary in that like it's a language modeling tool, but it's also either replicating emotion or figuring out emotion or figuring out how to respond to please the, like, can you just speak to that a little bit? Because that's where it seems to like get real kind of weird and uncomfortable for me.
Yeah. So the large language models have been studying human communication in, you saw 1.8 trillion endpoints. So it's learned how we communicate, but there's so many nuances to this. I mean, you can write entire books in the voice of somebody. And so I think that it's learned this kind of like digital empathy of sorts, where it can kind of come off as empathetic. And so it's something that especially for like your business in the way you want to portray it, teaching it how you want to view the world, to remove certain biases, that it is shown that ChatGPT does have inherent biases if you don't train it otherwise. Okay, and this is actually on my last page here, which I want all of you to just make sure that you know really well, because this talks about teaching it values, teaching it biases, teaching it how you talk to people, and it will adjust itself to the way that you would like to approach. The other thing that I want to just call out, because I think it's a safety thing, just like anything on the web, you absolutely have to just be aware that once it goes in there, it's stored. Just like your Google searches, just like anything that you do on the web, is that it's tracked nowadays. And with ChatGPT, it goes into their models. It's used to retrain it. So just keep in mind, I like to kind of use pseudonyms. So like if you have like a certain project that you're working on that you don't want, or you're working with somebody and you don't want them to know their name or address, just make sure to have kind of a fake one go in there. Okay, and then you can reference it and tie it back to that at any time. The very first thing that I did here, and I'm going to go ahead and increase this in size, I wanted to put together a 2 truths and a lie about the BRT project. So So Ryan, Dominic, you can keep me honest here. We're just having a little bit of fun here. So this is trying to pick out which of these BRT truths and which are lies. Okay, there's one lie and two truths. And what I want to call it here is I did not tell it anything. I said BRT, it went out and found all this on its own and made this. Do we know which one do we think is a truth? Ryan, do we have any truths on here? Do we have two?
Never heard that thing about the grandma, but I'm willing to bet that it's gonna move faster. So yeah, one is the truth.
All right.
I want to believe in foot massages.
Yeah, I think we want to believe in number two, but it is the lie and it calls us out. If we didn't want to know what the lie was because I was using it for a different purpose, I could say, don't tell me which one's the lie. And it wouldn't. The more direct that you can be with your prompt, it'll give you exactly what you're looking for. So what you'll see here on the back side of the front page is a whole lot of different use cases. And we're going to go through a few of them today with your specific businesses. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to work with is the Hooked on Colfax here. Thank you for being a volunteer on this one. Okay, so first of all, what you'll see on the left-hand side here is what are called projects. Okay, so I've organized my chats into projects so it has context with it that larger grouping. So I did a big prompt here. What I want you to really notice here is that I made an effort to put in a lot of detail into these so that first time around it gets an awesome response. And I think you'll see that right here. So I said, act as a master in public relations and communications. If you guys look on your first page, I made you a simple formula right here. Act as a certain role to help me do a certain task for my business type and present it in a certain tone. Okay, so that's really the formula. So you always want to tell it, of those 1.8 trillion endpoints, where do we focus? Okay, and so that comes down to like, what kind of specialist really are you, right? And so act as a master in public relations and communications. Take my angry response to a poor customer review and make it kind, understanding, and compelling for those reading my response will see my side rendering the poor review irrelevant. Okay, so you see how I wrote that? It's not just saying like be this way, it's get this certain outcome. Okay, I want this to be rendered irrelevant in a nice way. Address the points in their review with simplicity and matter of fact. Please make sure to maintain the facts, though. Don't make things up. I think I had my column right in the wrong place. And what you'll notice too is I misspell things all the time. I have the wrong punctuation. It'll get you. Okay, so you don't need to type it perfect and make sure it's like a perfect letter going in there. Okay, so this was the original review, and thank you for letting it be a little bit vulnerable here, you guys. All right, typical. Let's read this to ourselves. Is that good? But I think what I really pulled out here is that this was kind of a pretentious. Someone had been to Vienna and went to a nice coffee shop and wanted the Colfax coffee shop to be the same way. Okay, they kind of made some slights on the tattoo side, and the kind of people that come here, and I thought it was just, I thought it needed a good response. Okay, so this is what I wrote on your behalf here. I said, here's my response. I just want to get it out of my system. Okay, you might not love our you might not love our shop, but others do. This type of pretentious review is the problem with customers these days. We do our best to make a place where all are welcome and can feel a sense of belonging, tattoos and all. Go find your classy coffee shop somewhere else. We are authentically us, and that's how we want it. Okay? So just kind of like, you can write it however you want. Like, it's almost like with personal therapy to just get it out there. And once it learns your style, you don't even need to write a response. Just say, write it in my style, and it'll just go ahead and take care of it. But you do need some examples of how you like to respond. So, would it be reasonable to have one of you read the response out loud? Sure. All right. So, this is what came out of this.
Hi there. Thanks for taking the time to share your thoughts. While it sounds like our shop wasn't your cup of coffee, we appreciate that you stopped by. Hooked on Colfax is a reflection of the neighborhood we love, a little worn in, full of character, and deeply human. We've chosen not to polish away the soul of the space. I love that. The creaky chairs, the high ceilings, and yes, the tattoos, because they all speak to a kind of authenticity that matters to us and our regulars. We understand that the acoustics can get lively during busy hours, and we're always working to strike the right balance. That said, we also embrace that the energy of conversation, music, and espresso machines is part of what gives our shop its pulse. As for your mention of Vienna, we think it's wonderful that there are so many kinds of coffee experiences around the world. Ours just happens to be rooted right here in Colfax, and we're proud to be part of the creative, diverse, and imperfect fabric of Denver. We wish you all the best in finding a spot that feels like home to you, and we'll keep doing our best to be that for others, warmly.
How does that feel to read out loud?
That felt great. I do remember this review, it was a couple years ago, but yeah.
Well, now you have a response. I'll send it
Colfax,
to you.
Vienna.
Completely. And
Yeah.
how long do you think it would have taken you to write a response?
That would have taken me a very angry night.
You would have taken the emotions and then write it in a nice way,
Yes,
right?
we stopped responding to reviews a lot.
Yep. So this is a quick way to start responding to reviews and get that. I mean, you already have excellent reviews, and just having a rebuttal where it renders all of those irrelevant, it does wonders for the people looking at it. So this might have taken you what, like 2 hours, something like that.
Probably.
You know, that prompt took me about 10 minutes tops. Okay, and then you've got your output and you toss it up. So just save a couple hours here and there and still get the results you're looking for. Does anybody think that they might use ChatGPT for something like that?
Yes.
Just a quick reply to those. You know, this is one thing I haven't quite figured out with ChatGPT is if it's live on the websites, but you could go have it crawl your own reviews, pull out the reviews there and just say provide responses for all the reviews under 3 stars.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I believe it is live and up to date now, so just give it your Google review site, drop it in there, and say, you know, give me all the ones I haven't responded to, and respond to all of them. But you need to teach them your tone and how you want it, or have a really strong prompt that tells you the outcome you're looking for. So what I want to call out there that I think is really important is, let's say it didn't produce the perfect results right away. Okay, you can just follow up with say, can you adjust the tone to be, you know, a little bit more whatever, right? And give it another one, it'll just go ahead and write it. Or you say, wow, that's too long, can you limit it to 150 words? Okay, and it's just going to rewrite it for you right there. Say, I love the tone, I love everything about this, but I didn't love this line. Copy and paste it, drop it in there, and it'll read you the line. Okay, so lots of just quick adaptations that you can do there. All right, let's head on to another fun one here. We're going to do create ideas or names for a few products, services, offers, or events. We do not have the True Value team here, do we?
No.
Okay. We are going to do theirs anyways because it's pretty cool. And it might give you some ideas. And then this is going to head right into Stoner Speaks to Join. Give me one for you. All right. And you see that I have long prompts. You know, one of the things that I got when I started working with ChatGPT, I have a lot of friends that work in tech, and they're like, I've never seen such detailed prompts. And it's something that I've learned it really gets the most out of ChatGPT. Most people don't have the problems to actually solve, so they use it just as kind of a play toy. Okay, but for real business owners, there's real value when you put it and say, this is what I'm facing, here's the context, and maybe you say, ask me additional questions that I might not have considered. Right? You can use it as this back and forth coach to try to get you to be thinking about things, which is a really useful way. So let's take a look at this for True Value. I'm helping the owner of True Value on Colfax. Before I get into this, just really quick, this is my ChatGPT. Okay, so anytime that I do it, I like to anchor it to a specific either name of a business or what I'm doing with that business so that I can go back and say, bring up everything that we ever did with True Value. Okay, and then it would bring up all of that and say, can you summarize all the prompts that I've ever put in for True Value? Okay, so you can then go back there and kind of have this context switch. All right, so I'm helping the owner of True Value on Colfax Ave design a special neighborhood event that demonstrates we are open and need our community now more than ever as construction begins for ERT. Can you act as a marketing and events specialist to take this idea and expand it to a full event plan, the times, costs, outreach plan, I want to make this a profitable event for us and also entice those who attend to shop here more and invite their friends. Okay, so getting those outcomes in there and what you're actually trying to get out of it is critical. My idea is to do a pumpkin carving and pumpkin sales, and even a pumpkin catapult with a target of what type of discount you'll earn. Heartfelt reach out to customers to explain that we need them now more than ever. A coupon book that gets you more discounts the more you shop and the ability to share with friends. Please come up with more ideas. Mine are just a start. Rate and rank all the ideas to give me a clear path forward. Make sure to explain the financial outcomes and projections in plain English. Tell me if you are making up information, inferring, or speculating. Okay, so that was kind of pulling off of that sheet right there. But what you're seeing is that rating and ranking, I love doing kind of weighted analyses. If you usually write the word weighted, it'll kind of weigh all the different options and it'll put that out there for you. And if you say, oh, I don't think that the weight for profitability was as high as that, let's bring it down from 25% down to 20. So you can make those adjustments and it'll rerun it there in an instant for you. So let's see what this came up with. And since they're not here, we're going to go through this fairly quick. Okay, so it came up with a full branding here. Open for Good, Colfax Community Fall Fest. Okay, so it came up with this kind of top-level strategy right here. Is how to drive pumpkin sales and promotions. And so this is kind of more like an overall right here. And I'm just going to scroll this so you can see it. It is a full event plan. They picked out an optimal date of October 12th when they feel like the sales for pumpkins will be highest. Okay, a specific time that they think will be there with a certain theme. Free admission, but then there's pricing here of $5 per pumpkin with a free of a purchase over $25. So once it comes up with this initial plan, you can kind of modify it and push it forward. And then it did this full, and apologies, it's not going to, I guess we can't see it all, it ranked all the different activities and what it feels like is going to be the most lucrative and beneficial for the event. Pumpkin carving being number one. I think that you can gross about $500 there. It does a little cost analysis for you. The pumpkin catapult, fall fix-up, doing some do-it-yourself bundles, a coupon book, a heartfelt customer letter, free tool demos and giveaways, neighborhood vendor tables. So it came up with all those, and then it did a full cost analysis here. Budget, how much it's going to cost versus the revenue. And if at any of these you go, oh, this is BS, you go, explain to me your budget versus revenue, exactly where you're getting these numbers and why you think these are accurate. Okay, and so then it gives you out your totals here. They think for $1,800 in costs that you'll get about $2,000, $2,700 out. But one of the bigger things is that there's going to be follow-on sales from some of the coupons and the knowing that you are open during that time. And for something like this, these fall fix-up kit, you might do away with that part, right? So you can kind of mold this into what strategically works. And then here's a marketing plan with some heartfelt outreach that you can expand in each of these different areas. Where to actually get this out to local press. It might even be able to find you contacts, honestly, and phone numbers. And then, some flyers, incentivized referrals. And then here's a implementation plan of kind of, from a marketing campaign perspective, of exactly when you should be hitting certain communications. Okay, and one thing you can do now is you can actually schedule these with ChatGPT, where you can say, remind me on those days to send out and draft exactly what you want me to send and to who. All right, so this is an example right here of an event that could be planned through here. That was a one go. I didn't even add any add-ons right there, but you can kind of have it expand out any specific sections. Or say, I love the pumpkin carving, but the pumpkin catapult just seems like a lot of work. Do you have any other ideas? You guys want to try that? We can do it live right now. Maybe we'll do it for someone in the room when we get to there, some of that. So now we're going to take kind of a pivot off this into Stoner's Pizza Joint. How does that sound? All right. So this is going to kind of go along that same route, but this is around suggested pricing and a product that could go along with this whole BRT thing that's happening right now. Okay, so I'm working with Stoner's Pizza Joint on Colfax. Act as a creative and business specialist to make me a special branded offering to the BRT. And I defined it just so it wouldn't get confused there with the bus rapid transit and the construction happening on Colfax. That entices people to stop in and purchase. Offer me 5 different products and offers, rate and rank them on a weighted scale, so you see kind of, I like to use that weighted scale bit. Explain why you ranked number 1 and number 2. Then make me a full cost analysis of the top 2 results. Okay? And before we go into this one thing I do want to mention is that you all are in a kind of an adaptive transition time right now, right? It's like the BRT is happening, it might be in front of your shop one day, it might be blocks down the next. And so you're having to adapt to kind of what the circumstance is. What I'm observing is I'm getting minimal foot traffic. I need something where I can supplement either online or whatever you might be looking for. Or you might say, hey, this is starting to finish up. We're anticipating 10,000 people a day once BRT is open. How do I now capitalize on that increased foot traffic? So like as you get to the different phases, you can start to modify and give it that context of what's happening right in front of you, right? Because one of the big movements, this is very, very new, is, and I really hope this doesn't freak you out, it freaks me out a bit, but the movement is not just towards this text-based ChatGPT, it's adding eyes and ears. And so we kind of are that, what are we seeing, what are we hearing, and giving ChatGPT context to those. There are use cases where governments and whatnot are bringing it all together. So I apologize for just haunting your nightmares there. But for us, it's really what we're doing is we are the ears and eyes, and so we're bringing all that context in. All right, so back to this one. So now we are designing a new product offering. Okay, and usually what ChatGPT will do is provide a little summary. Sometimes I'd like to say is give me everything you've got, but give me like your top level summary at the very beginning. All right, so here are a few. What do you think about reading some of these ones?
Yeah, you want me to read it? $3 for a jumbo slice for anyone who shows proof that they stopped on Colfax. Picks up construction, bus tickets, and selfies by cones. High visual social value plus impulse buy. $9.95 combo slice garlic knots and a soda. Worth the detour. Like it. Branded sticker plus 1 free knot for posting a pic with it.
Awesome, thank you. So what it did here was, it came up with these different offerings knowing kind of the context that I gave it, right? If you start giving it more context, it might shift the results here. Okay, so those were the top 2. There's a few other ones that it came up with lower ratings. Okay, but it did a lot more, and I always like for it to explain why this is the right path forward. And I thought something that it came up with that I personally wouldn't have thought of is this behavior-based trigger. Is that instead of the slice being something you go and eat, it's a reward for taking that picture. It's not just a discount, it becomes something that you're doing and acting with. Okay, and this is something that you might be able to carry through when there's more foot traffic. Okay, so the detour combo, little emotional indulge, better margins for you than a single slice here, and it's really kind of more of a full meal for people. All right, and one thing it came up with, I don't know exactly what it was, is that there's the opportunity for add-ons. You do a $3 slice, and then you're selling a $1.50 drink with a high margin. Then you have someone paid $4.50 and they've got a drink and a slice, and you've got a 10-cent drink that you just sold for $1.50. So there's some options there. So great for a slice. It ran a full. So is this true? Does a slice sell for $4.50?
We sell for cheaper than that, but yes. We sell 2 slices for $4.99 with a drink.
Gotcha. So then what you're going to have to tell it is, hey, where did you get that $4.50?
Yeah.
And we can ask it right here is, where did you get that $4.50 number? Did you actually go on the website, make sure that your prices are accurate?
Okay.
And then it's going to redo this whole analysis and be like, oh, you're right. And so this is an example of, I believe it made a mistake. Okay, because $4.50 is not your pricing. Okay, and it needs to know that.
Okay.
And it has the capability of going out to get it. Sometimes you just need to nudge it a little bit. Okay? So and cost of goods sold, it can't know your cost of goods sold, it's making an estimate, but if you provide it with your cost of goods sold, then you're going to get a much more accurate analysis. And then this is your expected uptick. That's what it expects, is that 50 to 75 per week, and then you could run that promotion for a little bit and tell it what you're actually getting and say, how do we modify this, right? So it kind of becomes your business top-down. And then business add-ons. So it ran some revenue numbers for you on all of this. Okay, and I think some of it's inaccurate, so we're gonna have to modify that. So you can make it like certain times and days of the week. And then this detour deal was kind of like a more packaged deal that seems like it's a little bit off compared to what your current pricing is. So what I would recommend is giving it some of your real prices, and it would be able to give you something much more accurate.
Okay.
All right, so essentially it'll run this all for you, and then you can add follow-ons. Okay, so I asked a follow-up question here. So I asked it, now based on industry, location, product, please suggest pricing and justify why this is accurate to get the outcome that we want. Okay, so I want it to look at where, we live in Denver, we're on Colfax, is this realistic pricing? And then this is where it kind of did an analysis and looked at your estimated prices, and so a follow-up to this is say, but I'm going to ask it here to go on the website, search the web, and make sure that all these numbers are accurate. And so it's going to go back there, and it pulled some of these. Okay, and so it should, hypothetically, if we click on one of these, we should hypothetically get to your menu. And we might have, since there's other Stoner's Pizza Joint, we might have to coach it to go for this specific Colfax one, but it looks like it found it right here. Okay, so now it'll go a little bit more accurate, and it'll give you a little bit more accurate results. Okay, I wanted to throw one more thing here because I think this is really interesting. So this is a little bonus example here that I just want to read to you that might get you thinking in a different way. I will provide you with a list of products and vendor websites to do a scheduled pricing analysis every week that I want to arrive in my inbox on Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. Bring back verified prices from sites. State if you cannot find the price 100% certainty. Highlight the top 10 products that I use that I should be considering another vendor switch or negotiation. Analyze prices and margins, and suggest any prices that should be adjusted higher or lower based on the cost and local market conditions. Okay, that's the type of thing that you can do. If you say, we have these 50 goods, and this is where I'm getting them right now, and you tell them what website you're getting them from, you can have it go and do that research for you. Okay, but it's all giving that, and so it'll ask you, and this is kind of a personal question, is would you feel comfortable putting your list of ingredients on there? Like for me, I would say the risk is low, but it could be surface say, well, what products does Stoner's Pizza Joint use? If you would be at all concerned about that, I wouldn't put it in there. Okay, but if you're not concerned about it, I think that the value of that is high. So you always have to kind of think about that. It's like, are you okay having this out there? But absolutely, you can upload your spreadsheets and have it just realize you put numbers in there. ChatGPT is not always the most accurate with numbers. You have to check its work. Okay, Perplexity is kind of proving to be Perplexity and Claude are proving to be a little bit more accurate with numbers. Okay, so those are also free. You can throw those in.
Could you add a competitive analysis to say, here's my website for Stoner's, and here's 4 or 5 locations nearby me. Go look at their menus, compare their menus to my menu and prices, and give me some advice about that.
That is an excellent use case. Competitive insights is wildly powerful. I'm going to give you insight into just one thing here because you should be aware that it exists. Okay, you saw how fast ChatGPT comes back, right? It is able to gather a lot of information quickly, but there's a thing called deep research. Deep research takes 30 minutes to an hour, and it does like a PhD level paper on whatever you want it to. Okay, so imagine that you want to do a full competitive analysis and a pricing analysis across the board to make sure that everything's accurate. With their $20 paid, is $20 a month, so $240 a year. I think you get something like 20 to 25 of those deep researches a month. Okay, and then it resets. So like if you ever want to do those in-depth analysis and it needs to be accurate, then you craft this beautifully crafted, and you use regular ChatGPT to say, help me craft a deep research prompt. And it will help you craft a deep research prompt with everything you want. You make sure it's perfect, and then you let it go. It does its research and brings back a paper. And I actually just ran one for a volunteer project that I'm doing. And it's like, it is thoroughly in depth, and now I know exactly the stack of tools that I'm going to use to execute on that and why. So yeah, very interesting. All right, Mike, what do you think? Satellite bar?
Sure.
I'm working with Satellite Bar in Denver. I like to put together a series of weekly posts on Instagram and other social media to drive increased customers during the time that BRT, Bus Rapid Transit, is doing construction on Colfax. Look at which of their past posts performed well and analyze the best path forward. If there is a special promotion or event that did well, please mention that. Make the first 4 social posts for them and make them cohesive and on brand with what is already out there. All right, let's see how this one went. And this kind of lines up with what Ryan was saying earlier. So things that have performed well is they notice that bar crawls and community events have worked really well. Construction watch parties. I did not put that in there, so that actually came from research. Okay, I did not coach this. So those types of watch parties, and then any type of content around the vibe that is going on there. All right, and so strategy going forward, a series of 4 posts, celebrating construction milestones, partnering with local business not-for-profits, showing the bar is cozy with lively energy, and then encouraging in-person business with promotions and events. So it came up with this kind of first one around a milestone watch party, kind of coached you exactly what type of clip. If you want to get a little wild with the AI engines out there, you can actually have renderings of videos that you could upload some of your current video content. It will use that content and make new videos that didn't actually happen, but that are promotional content that look just like your place. Okay, that's pretty wild, but it's absolutely feasible. And all you have to do to figure that out is ask your ChatGPT. This is like your quarterback. Think about it like that. There are we are hitting the absolute surface of what's out there. So if you think about it, just say like, how would I make a video if I could upload 10 of my videos and have you create content of the vibe that I want here, and then it'll do it.
Quick question, would that link to social media at all? I mean, is there any correlation between the two where AI created this video for me, post that to my Instagram page, something along those lines?
Yeah, so this won't actually post it. There are tools that will automatically post things. I don't want to get you too into that, because when you start getting automated, human in the loop is the key here, is that you need to prove everything. And once you have the content and it's all there, putting it up is not too bad, but there are ones that will just take your content and put it up on multiple platforms at once, which saves some time. But you can ask ChatGPT how to do that as well. I just urge you with caution, take it one step at a time. But those videos that it's based off your content and the video is yours. So I think that we're gonna end up seeing too much content online being fabricated through AI agents. It's gonna change the whole internet, because you aren't gonna know what's real and what's not, and there's companies emerging to try to figure out what's real and what's not. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have too many questions. So, what's your thoughts or suggestions on building a customer avatar or a focus group here of my customers, as opposed to sort of the general public, so that I can customize the postings to what's going to compel my customer group? Because the Instagram postings that are out there, I saw you gave it the examples, but often I've got a profile and avatar of my customer.
If you know your customer profile, you toss that right in there and say, this is my target audience, or I have 3 different target audiences. Can you make me separate ones for each that are more targeted?
And using it to create your avatar first and help.
What do you mean your avatar? As in, are you talking about video content?
No, I'm talking about the segmented customer that I'm going after.
So this is something where you can link to keywords and have I'm going to be using this word to describe this type of customer that I have. And every time I use that word, I want you to write it in this style. And here's 5 examples, would be the ideal. It will get you almost perfect results. All right, so Mike, community bar crawls right here. Again, it puts together that caption. If this is not how you like to write, then you coach on how you like to write, and it'll adjust those. Week 3, the vibe, the BRT update, and then this watch party and fundraiser, some execution tips, and you can ask any follow-up questions. So this is just like one idea using your business.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna do Stab Joe Coffee. Yeah. So you'll see this a little bit different. So I said I'm working with the owner, and I just dropped in the link right there. And sometimes that can be nice because it gets you right to the business. And she needs to make a tough decision on where to cut costs for my business. Cut costs, and I actually switched over to my business, but it figured out kind of what was going on there. My business may not survive while BRT is doing construction outside. I need ways to slim down when foot traffic is at an all-time low. I would like to look for ways to reduce my cost and would like to evaluate these areas. Weight, and I always like to put that weight, rank, and rate. It always gives you kind of best options. Be thorough, do full research on proven approaches, but tell me if you are making up information, inferring, or speculating. Provide me with links where I can start to solve these problems. And then I just put in a list of things that I was thinking about, right? Negotiating leases and rent, repair negotiations. Hey, can I cut my cost of goods sold? Might we be able to team with multiple businesses and negotiate on bulk pricing? And how do we do this without people who are my direct competition? Linens and paper negotiations. So throwing in all these ideas. And so what it ended up coming back with was that the number 1 high impact here was negotiating lease and rent. And it gave some kind of ideas that on a proven approach that this actually works out there and it's worked for other businesses. And it gave you kind of this action plan right below, followed by repair and maintenance negotiations being kind of a medium and high. And then vendor negotiations and bulk buying being a high impact as well. So like a purchasing cooperative and kind of came up with some sites here on how this has actually worked for businesses in the past. So you'll see all these little, you see how it's actually found like multiple sites. Okay, so that's saying that, hey, we found this site plus 4 to be able to corroborate this. Okay, linens and paper, and then exploring new vendors. Staffing was a really big one here, limiting staff during some of those high foot traffic hours. Cross-training staff so they can cover multiple roles. Incentivized items here. I haven't read through all this, but I just want to be cognizant of everyone's time here. And then just a few other ideas that it came up with to help out. And then it gave a full summary at the bottom. This is what I wanted to get you to, is that it cross-referenced impact and ease, okay, which is, I think, a really critical piece here with quick next steps, which gives you a really kind of high-level overview of where you might want to approach.
So to get those results, did you actually have to input sales information and other items?
No, I did not.
If you were to do that, would it
get way more accurate?
But then your information then is out in the
It's in there, and the question becomes, is actually what's the impact? Like if somebody came down the road and said, I know how much all your stuff costs, like you need to give me lesser prices. I think the odds of that happening are low. There's so much information, and the only way you get it out of here is if they said, I want to mimic what Stoner's Pizza Joint is doing. Tell me how they made their business.
And that's a whole other issue.
And you know what I do? I tell my ChatGPT that this is proprietary. I say, do not share this with anyone. I even tried the other day to say, don't share this with OpenAI, which is who makes chat, and they said we can't do that. But it did say that I can keep your information private from anyone else. Okay, so if you want, say, look, I'm putting in some proprietary financials. Anything that's tied to my business, I do not want searchable via
OpenAI.
The only thing that I think it would come up for is if like a legal thing or something with the law is why I think that OpenAI would search that back for. I just had a few other ones just to like really quickly because I don't want to miss this. do not share confidential info. And especially if it's someone else's name, like I did not say like, oh, Savage Oak Coffee, Danon, and give your last name, phone number, email. Just be aware of people's private information because once it's on, it likely has access to all that information already. A creepy one is if you ask it to tell you about yourself. Don't try it, but you can try it. It also has a picture of me, so it can do images as well. So you can say like, generate an image.
I have seen that, not myself.
Mine thinks it's very interesting. Also, be careful with high-risk topics. Lawyers, CPAs, doctors, you can say, what would I ask my lawyer? What would I ask a CPA? But be careful with financial advice, be careful with any of that kind of advice. Just be aware it can fully fabricate, even if you ask it advice. Also, review everything, okay? This is a first draft, okay? Remember, this is your fresh out of college, hungry for work kind of employee, but you need to proofread everything that it does. Verify the important facts and numbers, especially ChatGPT and all these engines are known for just screwing up numbers. You say, make me an image with a person with 5 fingers and it puts 6 on there. I don't know why this happens. It's been kind of one of those wonderings out there, but numbers specifically, there are specific agents that can help with that, but just be aware that you really need to proofread when you're doing numbers, okay? Assume that everything that you type in there is being tracked just like anything on the web. I just want to say it. It's just reality of the data that we live in. And then finally is watch for bias. We live in a vibrant culture here on Colfax. You need to teach it what right looks like for you and your business. Okay, absolutely critical. And that's all I have for you all.
So I don't have any more updates. I do just want to, I always end with reminders about the We Back the Facts campaign. We have all the swag. Please take whatever you would like. Sam here in the back, he runs the We Back the Facts campaign. Do you want to say any?
No, I think just we're trying to pick up more momentum, more businesses getting involved. Something that we noticed, Dominic's been the one who's giving the cash to the winners, and often they are taking it and going right back into that same business and spending that money right away. So it's being immediately returned to the participating businesses. So
especially regulars, they'll go buy around for their friends or buy gifts and whatnot. I mean, I've seen it happen immediately, so that's $50 right back to your business.
Yeah.
So definitely take some of these trifolds. That's been proving to be more successful when those are out. So
yeah, trifolds. We've got doormats, all the swag still, and then
we'll have a handout version of this too that you'll be able to just set so we can take it with them.
Yeah.
So they're reminded.
Yes. Yeah.
South City Park Neighborhood Association, in concert with Bluebird Business District, is doing a Hooked on Colfax, Around the Corner in Bluebird and South City Park neighborhood. We've done 3 events now, offering folks from South City Park to come in, and it's been like the Bluebird bid has put up $200 per event for a free tab. We did at Goosetown, so we've got some more of those coming along this summer. Anybody else in the Bluebird Business District area interested, make sure to let the bid know or just contact South City Park.
Okay.
And we've been working with them too to make sure they have all the swag, and we've been going to a couple of those events just to make sure people know about the program. And we're trying. Apartment complexes, making sure people who move in know that they should be spending their money here.
Yeah, we're still looking for more posts and more business to spotlight, so feel free to get on our list if you haven't already been profiled. And and another thing we're trying to do more of is if you can tag our account in some of your content, if you have an event or want to drive people to your business, tag us, and we're going to start trying to reshare and repost a lot more of that content. So just trying to amplify and cross-post as much as we can, and we are growing the audience and coming up with other ideas to just draw as much attention to the businesses as possible. So more to come.
And if you do end up, so one of the examples was how do I incorporate BRT into my product sales, and we did a session so if you haven't watched the virtual one from last month, we did a whole session on how to put the bus in business. And so if I know I'm still always really groaning about it, but I created it, so I'm living by it. So for example, with Stoner's Pizza, if you do any of those, my point here is if you do any of those, we would love to feature those. So then we can help amplify whatever products you're selling that are bus or BRT focused. And so the goal of that is to then put together some sort of larger compendium so people can, when we do events or things like that, suddenly we bring in your BRT pizza or your BRT drink and suddenly you have sales at one of our parties or things like that. So again, I'm trying to think of a lot of ways to bring businesses together around these central ideas. So yeah, and this is the QR code to the profile survey. If you haven't done it yet and you'd like to be profiled, I'll just leave that up here. Otherwise, that's it.